I'm doing soup. So one of my favorite fall veggies are leeks, and I buy them every year, and I chop them up something like this, or even a little thinner, and I freeze them. I freeze them on a cookie sheet with parchment paper, and then in the winter when I want soup, because I love really good soups, I'll bring out some leeks, and there you go. But I thought, instead of doing the same soup, because people who like leeks tend to like Vichyssoise, which is a potato and leek soup. I did a little bit of research, and I came up with a recipe from Bon Appetit, which is the carrot coconut soup with harissa and crispy leeks. And this combines some of my favorite things like coconut oil, coconut milk. I love coconut. So I'm going to be making that. And again, it's very simple. We'll go through the steps.
It better be good.
It better be good. Yeah.
So we're hungry.
We're hungry. Okay, so my recipe is a modified leek soup. It's actually a carrot coconut soup with harissa and crispy leeks. It's funny, for years I've been making the leek and potato soup, and I always felt kind of, I wasn't getting much out of it in terms of nutrients. Okay. Because to me, nutrients are like bright orange veggies, the reds, the dark greens, things that pop. And I always associate that with really good stuff in terms of nutrition. But we just had this little conversation, and I said, explain to me again the nutritional benefits of this family of the leeks and the onions and the garlic. And you said they have anti-cancer properties.
Yep. I know we tend to think it's when we're adding flavor. Which you are. Okay. You're adding quite a bit of flavor, but they do have good health benefits to them too.
Okay,
so don't be, don't, like you said, we tend to think the bright colored ones.
Yeah.
Don't forget about the white stuff either.
Okay.
Things like cauliflower too. I mean, we're not using it today, but you're getting a lot of nutrients from that. Exactly. It's the same thing with these onions, garlic, leeks, or from the same family.
Yeah.
Anti-cancer.
Okay, excellent. Anti-cancer is good. I need that because there's cancer in the family. So this recipe calls for, it's very simple. It looks complicated, but it's actually not. I've done all the prep ahead of time. I cut up a pound of carrots. I peeled them and just cut them any which way. We're not aiming for perfection because we're going to be pureeing this at the end. And I chopped up an onion. We have 2 garlic cloves. Because I'm not great at the whole chopping thing, I tend to use a garlic press to cut up the garlic cloves, but if you're really good at chopping and you like mincing it, go to town. 2 garlic cloves, a tablespoon of minced ginger, which I use just a regular cheese grater, and I minced it up, 1 peeled chopped apple, and then for the crispy leeks, there's 1 leek that's thinly sliced as opposed to this one that's just any old which way. There are 3 tablespoons of coconut oil, some unsweetened coconut milk. I bought the regular light one, and then 4 cups of chicken or vegetable broth. So if you're vegetarian or if you're vegan, you can substitute the chicken broth for vegetarian. I made this yesterday because I really enjoy homemade broth. So I'm going to be sauteing all this. I'm going to be melting the coconut oil, adding all of these things on this cutting board, sauteing it for a couple of minutes, and then adding this and letting it simmer for about 20 minutes with the coconut milk.
So we'll show you how
it's done. And then to puree, I'm a big fan of the hand blenders. So much easier because I've exploded things in this kitchen where soup ends up on the cupboard. So that's nice. What we're going to do. Oh yeah. To make the soup, we take 1 of the tablespoons of coconut oil and we melt it, which is what I'm doing right now.
Is there a reason why you're using coconut oil and another oil?
2 reasons. 3 reasons. The recipe called for it. I love coconut anything.
Yep.
I'm obsessed with it. And I know there are a lot of health benefits to coconut oil, none of which I can think of right now. But I bought organic virgin coconut oil, and this is the one I use, and I use it for cooking, I use it for baking, I use it as a hand moisturizer as well, for lip balm as well. I use it for a lot of different things. So that's one of the reasons I'm using it.
But one thing I am going to say about coconut oil, yes, it does have health benefits.
Yes.
But a lot of these health benefits are a little bit over-exaggerated.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's oil. You always have to be careful with oil. It's a lot of fat.
Right.
It's only fat. The thing with coconut oil, it's higher in saturated fat than other oils, olive oil, all your other vegetable oils.
Okay.
Usually saturated fats are not so good.
Right.
Not in the case of coconut oil. That's why a lot of people are saying it has all these health benefits.
How come?
How come?
How come it's not as bad saturated fat as other kinds of oils?
It's just the structure of the oil itself.
Okay, so it's not because it's a vegetable oil versus an animal-based oil. It's just because it's coconut. Is that it?
Because it's coconut.
Okay.
But at the same time, not all of the saturated fat is healthy.
Ah.
And that's why I'm saying a lot of it has been exaggerated because they're forgetting the other part of the saturated fat that's not.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay.
As good. And there's nothing wrong with it. I usually tell people to use different oils. Sometimes use coconut, sometimes use olive, sometimes use sunflower, whatever you want to use. It's a matter of taste.
Okay.
And either way, if you're not using, you're not using a cup of.
No, you're using
oil.
a tablespoon.
Exactly. So it doesn't really matter. Use whatever you want. Like you said, if you have extras with this, you could use it on your fingernails, you could use it on your hair, you could use it anything you want.
Okay.
So you added some other good things in there.
So yeah, I typically start with like the onions and the garlic and the ginger, and I just turned it up a little bit because I want to sweat them a little bit for a couple of minutes. Then I'm going to add the carrots and the apples. I'm going to cook them for 5 to 7 minutes, and then I'm going to add the chicken broth, some water, and a can of coconut milk, and you let it cook for about 25 minutes.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'm just waiting for my very slow stove, there it goes, to start sizzling. And whenever I cook with onions, which is most of my dishes, I tend to start by sauteing the onions and letting them sweat a little bit. I just find it brings out the flavor a little more, and then I'll add the rest of the ingredients.
Perfect.
And I'm going to be frying up the thinly sliced leeks to make crispy leeks. Now, I've never done this before. I don't know how this is going to turn out. Although I cook with coconut oil, I'm not a big fan of fried food, so I normally don't add anything that says fried, but I will do it, I think, for flavor and just see what it's like. And when this melts, I will add the thinly sliced leeks, and I will make them crispy. Let's see, and then you have to drain them on a plate with a paper towel. So I'll do that while the soup comes to a boil, so that once it's done, everything is ready to go. Wait. Do you want to turn it on and try again once it starts?
Talk about the soups.
This lovely soup, actually, I had no idea what it would look like, but it's a really pretty light color, so you can tell, obviously it's got carrot, but it's not as pale as, obviously, as a Vichyssoise. And I taste tested it a few minutes ago, and it was really nice. It had a nice tang because of the citrus. I'm sorry?
So we trust you.
Absolutely. Oh, trust me, I've never killed anyone. There's always a first time, but and you can also serve it with harissa, but in our typical fashion, we forgot the harissa. So it's okay. We have the crispy leeks, and that's that. It smells so good between the coconut and the ginger.
We smell all of it.
It smells so good.
You can actually